Hey everyone, welcome back to another Reddit video from Curious Cat Media, where we read Reddit stories for your entertainment. Now today I've got two really exciting petty revenge stories from the petty revenge subreddit. So we'll start with the first one. The first one, titled story, saw a post about HOA revenge and had to post my story. I bought my house in 2001 in a 42 home community. We bought it right after 9/11 and we picked the community because the HOA fees were very low, only $51. It wasn't long after we bought the last home in the community. We got a sweet deal because of this, and business had really slowed down after 9/11 before those dues started going up. I was 22 at the time. Looking into financial reports into the meetings, it became clear why the dues were going up. The board was a little fired set up by developers of homes. Our management company was a subsidiary corporation of the home builder, and the builder's board members were a combination of one of the home developers and the very two first people that bought their home in the community, so a 3-person board. The first action the board took was to increase the fund to remove trees that were not in the HOA property. These trees that sat in the area were the HOA had access for weed abatement. These trees' real crime were not that they were weeds, it was that they blocked the nice views of the board president and vice president. At the same time, the bull violation letters started going out to about half the homes. You weren't mowing enough, you weren't watering enough, every petty thing you can think of. They were issuing warning letters and starting to fine homeowners. Cue the revenge time. After getting one of those letters about weed abatement, ironically, I was researching the HOA community CCRs about weed abatement, and that led me to realize the trees were not on HOA property, and it was researching the annual budget that led me to finding out that the huge weed abatement expense was actually the community fund being spent on removing trees solely for the two board member homeowners' views. I then found out that in California, all those who need to... I then found out that in California, all anyone needs to initiate a recall of the entire board and install a new one, if successful, was the signature of 5% of homeowners delivered to the current board. That's a total of 3 houses and a 42-home community. The board was issued a recall notice not 48 hours after I had found out about the law, delivered to the management company in person. Ironically, the home builder's corporate office was in the exact same building as the management company. I think they would have not wanted to make this association, but hey, it was 2002. That's also when I found out the management company basically had the entire board in its pocket because they dragged their feet with the recall for it. They set it out as far as they could by law in the middle of the day instead of holding it in the community like all board meetings. They set it at a place in a local park a couple miles away. They thought they were so brilliant doing this. So me and my wife put together a proxy voting form for the election, and we went to every door in our community. We told them what happened with their money, their plans to create an architectural community that would require all homeowners to get approval for any additional changes, and everything. It took us 3 rounds around the neighborhood, plus a couple extra visits to the home that had not answered the doors initially. In the end, me and my wife had 26 revocable proxies for the election. Those unfamiliar with proxies, it basically gives me and my wife the power to cast votes for the homeowners if they're not present. The thoughtlessness of the board and the management company actually made it easier for us to collect these proxies because the homeowners flat couldn't make it to the time and place of the meetings. The recall day finally arrives. The current board members are all there. The management company representative is there, and 8 other homeowners showed up to the meeting, 6 of whom we had proxies for, which are now revoked by their attendance. They opened the meeting and started saying something about, oh, looks like this was a waste of money, there isn't a quorum, blah blah. I then said, I'm sorry, but we do have a quorum. They're like, oh no, we need 22 homeowners here, but there are only 12. The three board members, me, my wife, and the 8 others that showed up. And that's when I pulled out my trump card. I dropped all 26 proxies on the bench of the table that was sitting at, And I said, I'm sorry, but there are actually more than a third of the homeowners present, and pointed out the math. After subtracting the 6 homeowners that had showed up, we had 20 additional proxies that counted for both quorum and voting purposes. They all got wide-eyed, most especially the management company representative. He came over and looked at the forms very closely and compared it against the list of homeowners. Even the people that were there on our side didn't realize how much work we actually did to ensure the ball ended here and now. The recall meeting was open. The board members voted not to recall, plus their 3 friends, and they were on their side. The homeowners present voted to recall, and the vote stood 6-6 tied. I then stood and declared that we were voting our 20 valid proxy votes to recall the entire board. Recall passed 26-6. Next vote. Who replaces the board members? It ended up being me, wifey, and another homeowner that had voted for the recall and was willing to take the seats. We elected ourselves for the board seats by 26-6. It was at this point the management company then stated that the Canon management was immediately resigning as the management company for the community. I then pulled out the HOA's management contract, which clearly stated that either side needed to give 3 months notice for this effective resignation, and stated as we, the new board, accept their resignation and set an end date for their services 3 months later. So they're keeping them there. The management company was nuclearly pissed off. I, a 22-year-old kid at the time, had beaten them at their own game and prepared for this possibility of quitting shenanigans. We replaced the management company after a couple months, having had proper time to find and vet an independent company, about half the cost no less. Did the same thing with the gardening services, which was also a home builder affiliated company. No surprise there, also half the cost. The old president of the HOA put his home up for sale about a month later after we rescinded all of the old violations and issued a notice to the old board members that we intended to vote on whether they had committed fraud against the association over their weed abatement tree removal action. I still vividly remember walking over to Dale's house, the old president, the day that he was moving, and giving him a big wave goodbye as he sat in his car getting ready to follow the moving truck. He gave me the finger and drove out. Definitely one of my proudest moments. Now, I can't believe this story. Wow, this guy really did a number on the HOA, making them move and taking full power over them. That was the first story. If you guys liked it, please like, comment, subscribe. Story number 2 is on its way now. It's also a petty revenge story, a lot smaller this one, but here we go. If you want to let me merge, enjoy your tickets. So I drive a tow truck for a living. I was leaving the scene of the accident with the vehicle on the deck. All my lights were on and flashing, and this really bad VW Jetta decides, F you, I'm going to speed match you so you can't merge. My lane is ending, my truck is over £20,000 and the Jetta is around £3,000. Prepare for petty revenge. Instead of going behind him, I have the right of way as my lights are on and the cop was there at the scene of the crash watching this unfold. I decided, F you, air horn time. Now it's a Freightliner M2 with a 21-foot deck, and it's a decent sized truck. I am on the air horn constantly now. My signal is on and this a-hole still thinks he won't be letting me over. I force my way in as the truck isn't the fastest, but I'm the only one on the road to cover the entire city when it's busy and raining hard. Seconds do count. The cop is getting irritated by this a-hole in the Jetta. The cop is in a fully marked Explorer and decides, you want to be a dick? Let's see how you like this one. Jetta is now tailgating me. Has his phone in his hand, pictures of my truck, and when the road goes back to 2 lanes, the Jetta aggressively swerves into the next lane and taking pictures of my truck so he can complain about me. The cop is pissed off. Now he decides the guy needs a little reminder of the law. The cop lights this guy up and pulls him over and gave him multiple tickets. Failure to yield to an emergency vehicle, failure to slow down and move over for flashing lights, using an electronic device while driving, failure to use signal while lane changing, tailgating, driving with undue care and attention. That's a total of about 1,500 to 2,000 in fines for all of this combined. maybe the jackass should have let me in, and then he would have wouldn't have had to give them a truckload of money. I block traffic for all the cops at night on blind corners to keep them safe. They watch my back, and to keep me safe as well. I have a video of the idiot getting pulled over, but it won't let me attach. Oh my god, this guy even has a video. Everyone asks how I know what he got fined with. It's because I work with the same cops 4 nights a week. So yeah, obviously, make them assumptions, and there were only 4 cops on that shift. So obviously, I would have thought as well, how does he know exactly? Because he works with those cops. It's probably a small city. He works with those cops constantly. Obviously, they would let him know what they did to the guy. What a great story, if you ask me. I mean, he should have just merged into traffic and let him in. To me, like 1,500 in fines. Come on, that's ridiculous. Anyways, I really hope you guys liked this video. Those were the 2 stories from r/petty revenge. I really hope you liked them. Like, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you all again sometime this week. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.